assessment. Chapter 6, okay, definition of the project management. The project, you should know what is the difference. Okay, the characteristic of the project itself, which is unique, many related activities, and also difficult to estimate the completion time. The characteristic you should know one by one. The objectives of project management. The 3 project management technique, but we are focusing on your syllabus. We are focusing on the PERT diagram, okay, the project evaluation and review techniques. Okay, the PERT analysis, the stages of the project management, which it consists of project planning, project scheduling, and controlling. The advantages of the PERT diagram, the disadvantages of PERT diagram, definition of all, the network, the arrow, the nodes, okay, nodes or event, okay, nodes or the circle which represent the event, okay, which one is tail, which one is head. So basically, you will the preceding event is called as the tail node and the succeeding event is called as the head node. So you akan jumpa echo tail first, then only you will see the head. Right, so what is the dummy activities, which it is a fictitious activities that consuming no time or other resources, but dummy activities is required as you cannot produce from one node produce 2 arrow going to the next same node. Okay, so you must create the dummy activities. What is path? What is the critical path? The critical path, it is in numbers. Okay, it is the longest from the start of the project to its end. Okay, critical path is the activities that consume most time. It is the longest time path of the project. So how you want to identify the critical path? Okay, you must look at the nodes. Okay, the event that have the same values for the EET and the LET. And then activities along the critical path, we call that as the critical activities. Critical path, it is in numbers. Critical activities, it is in alphabet. Okay, any delay in the critical activities, it will delay the project completion time. Okay, what is the difference between critical activities and non-critical activities? For the non-critical activities, that particular activity can be delayed without the project completion time being affected, as long as the delay does not exceed the total float available. Float or slack, okay, it is referring to the total spare time available for each activity in the network. Okay, critical activities, they have no float. Okay, activities that have no float, okay, are critical. Kalau have float, it is non-critical activities. Okay, there are 3 types of float. Okay, total float, free float, and independent float. Okay, the formula, yes, you should know the formula. For the total float, the arrow is going to up, and you must minus the duration at the end of the formula. Okay, over here you see the tail first, then only you see the head. Everything must minus from right to left, and the duration will be put at the end of the formula. For the total float, okay, the negative sign shows the project will be delayed. Okay, for the positive sign, it shows there is no effect to the completion time. But it's only applied for the total float. The free float, okay, for the free float, for the free float, okay, the formula, okay, from right to left, okay, over here, minus with the duration. And the independent float, okay, the arrow going down, okay, right, okay, minus left, okay, EETH minus LETT minus the duration. Okay, if you get the negative answer, just remain the same answer, the same numbers, okay, because negative float has no real meaning. Okay, what is the EET? The definition for EET you should know. For the EET, earliest event time, the first node is equal to 0 and you need to work forward. When you work forward, it means that you have to add with the duration. Add, tambahkan. Okay, added the duration to an activity. And if there is more than one arrow, you need to choose the largest value. For the EET, you will look at the arrow over here. Muncung ni ha. Okay. Meanwhile, for the LET, okay, this is the vice versa of the EET. You will work backward, you reverse, you minus. You minus the duration activity of the preceding activities from the LET of the last node to obtain the LET of the preceding event. EET of the last node will become the LET of the event. And if there is more than one arrow, you will choose the smallest value. Okay. Tapi actually kita tak tengok arrow lah untuk LET tu. Okay. Kita akan tengok line. Kalau EET, kita akan tengok muncung ni. Kalau LET, okay, memanglah you arrow macam ni kan. You akan tengok line over here. Ya tak kelas? Am I too fast?
Clear, madam.
Okay, and then this slide only will be used if the question asks you about the activity, if the activity is delayed by. Kalau delayed by, you akan gunakan this slide, which is you need to find the total float. Okay, you need to find the total float. You add the old duration with the new duration. Okay, latest event time head minus earliest event time tail minus the both duration, which consists of the old duration plus with the new duration. If your answer over here is negative, it means that the project will be delayed by that magnitude. If the answer is 0, okay, answer equal to 0 or you get the positive answer, no delay will be caused. Okay, this slide will be used only if the question asks you about delayed by. Delayed by maksudnya apa? Lambat kan? Delayed. Dilambatkan. Okay, terlambat. Depends lah pada question. 2 months ke, 2 weeks ke, depending on the question given. Okay, these are the comparison between AON and AOA network conventions, but you are focusing on the AOA based on your syllabus. Okay, so when you need to produce the dummy activities, when, okay, there is one arrow, you need to produce 2 arrow going to the same node. Okay, over here, okay, you cannot produce like this. So what you should do, you should create dummy event, okay, depending on the question lah. Okay, dummy event and you do the dummy activity. Dummy activities here represent activity B. Why? Because, okay, this one is, you jumpa ekor dulu, tail, this one is head. Okay, this one, B start with the project and then this one, notes number 3, B finish the project activities. I'm sorry. So, number 2, activity B start. Okay, and then number 3, activity finish. So you produce one dummy activities over here, okay, which is dummy 1, which represent activity B. So D over here produced by B and C, you get D. Is it clear, class, over here? Are you clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay, good. Okay. But basically, actually, for your final, they don't ask you to complete all the working. Basically, it depending on the question. Okay, sometimes they ask you, find the EET, find the LET, ataupun completion. So, in order to find the completion time, you kena buatlah EET. Ataupun dia tanya you find the, identify or determine the critical path and the critical activities. Dia tak suruh you buat semua sekali A sampai F. Tapi actually, you should know lah, okay, how you get that particular answer, the working. So, in order to answer the question given. Alright. Remember the difference between revise tu, you change. Delayed tu, you need to add with the duration. Okay, so over here, let's say, how do you identify the critical path? The first thing is you akan tengok, you will look at the EET and LET. EET and LET should be the same numbers. So that is the one step in order for you to identify the critical path. Okay, tapi let's say notes number 4 here, you punya EET, LET sama, 5, 5. Sedangkan supposed to be, you nampak ada macam ada 2 critical path. But supposed to be, there will be only 1 critical path. So if in this case, which one you will choose class? B, E, H, J or C, F, H, J? Mana satu you akan pilih? B, E, H, J or C, F, H, J? Mana satu you pilih?
BEHJ.
Why? Apa?
Sebab dekat dia highest kat situ 7.
Dia highest dekat sini 7. Because actually intersect dekat 5 ni kan. Dia bertembung dekat sini, right? Notes number 5. Okay. 2 going to 5, 4 going to 5. Okay, 5 plus 1, 6. This one 5 plus 2, 7. Between 7 and 6, which one get the largest value? 7 and 6, so 7. So you choose B, E, H, J. Clear tak class over here?
Yes, madam.
Okay, very good. The completion time, what is the, identify the completion time. Okay, identify the earliest completion time. So the same term, dia tanya you earliest ke, the completion time which months whatsoever, tu benda yang sama. Cari. Macam nak cari, you kena buat EET lah. Okay, so this one should be no problem to find the free float, independent float and the total float. Okay, revise tu maksudnya you change, you tukarkan the duration. Delayed tu, delayed by, okay, delayed by you need to add duration, old duration plus with the new duration. Okay. For project management, do you have any question for project management class?
No, madam.
Okay, right. So the next one is the work measurement. Okay, work measurement. Sebelum tu, duration, bila you tengok duration, you punya final exam, dia kata 9 sampai 12 kan? PM, betul tak? Masa 28 hari bulan tu. Sebenarnya masa you bukan 3 jam ya. Masa you cuma 2 jam sahaja. 3 jam untuk face to face, you buat secara manually. Okay, 2 masa ODN, sepanjang ODN only for 2 hours. You have to answer the question given. Not 3 hours. Okay, the 2 hours including you submit the answer. Okay, only 2 hours, not the 3 hours one. Please jot down that information. Okay, bolehkah?
2 jam tu berapa soalan, madam?
50.
Oh, okay.
50 MCQ. Okay, you need to answer all. Of course lah, MCQ tak ada pilihan lah. Tapi tak pernah pun I punya subjek ni ada pilihan walaupun previous di masa face to face, macam you tengok lah yang sebelum ni, you buat you punya assignment kan. Okay, answer all. There are 10 questions, you need to answer all. 5 theories, okay, 5 questions for theories and then 5 questions for calculation. Okay, so for work measurement definition, you should know, okay, all these things you should know. The objectives, the work measurements, benefits, the importance. Okay, the 4 types of allowances, okay, the definitions and the example of the allowances, okay, of each allowances example you should know. Okay, definition especially. Okay, the 4 types of methods in setting level standards, which consist of historical experience, predetermined time and motion studies, keyword sampling, and the time studies. Okay, for the time study, remember the work, okay, the activities is routine and repetitive. Okay, benda yang berulang, yang sama, berulang kali you buat. That is the time study. Okay, the 3 concepts in the time studies, which consists of the observed time, normal time, or also known as the basic time, the standard time. Standard time, usually we take the consideration of allowances. Okay, the methods, okay, the formulas in the time study methods, which consists of the average observed time. Remember, for the average observed time, okay, you need to choose, okay, the extreme time values, either it is too high or too low. For any element, you should not choose it because it might represent erroneous reading or the observation. Okay, erroneous reading in the observation. So you should remember the same task, the same activities, you take the time again and again. Repetition. Okay, routine task. Right? So summation of the observed time over the number of observation. Okay, your answer either it is in minutes or second depending on the question given. Next is to find the basic time or normal time. Okay, average observed time multiply with the observed rate. This observed rate is your performance rating. Okay, the observed rate, it can be more than 100, it can be below 100. Okay, it depends on the worker's work pace. Observed rate, or also known as the performance rating, over standard rate. Standard rate here is 100%. Okay, over 100. Okay, your answer can be minutes or second. Okay, the standard time equals to the normal time multiply 1 plus allowance factor. Okay, number 4. Okay, the allowance factor. How to find the allowance factor? Okay, kalau dah bagi set-set dalam bentuk percentage, you tinggal ambil. Tapi kalau allowance given it is in minutes or it is in seconds, so you have to convert it to become percentage. So how you want to do it? Okay, so summation of allowances, either it is in minutes or second, you divide by the number of working hours per day. So you kena tahu berapa jam you bekerja satu hari dan jam tu you kena tukarkan kepada minutes or second depending on the question given. Don't forget to multiply with 100. Allowance factor must be in percentage. So you must multiply with 100. Okay, daily standard output, this one is for daily. Kalau weekly standard output, kena darablah dengan number of working days per week. Okay, kalau for daily standard output, working hours per day, either 80 minutes or second, depending on the question given, over the total standard time. The total standard time here is actually the time taken for you to produce 1 unit of output. Okay, total standard time adalah time taken to produce 1 unit of output. Okay, ni daily. Daily this one lah. Kalau weekly, darab dengan number of working days per week. Kalau monthly, darab dengan number of working days in a month. Number of workers required to meet target output equals to target output per day. This one dia nak day. So, over daily standard output. This one. Kalau dia minta target output per week, bawah pun kena weekly standard output. Depending on the question. Labor cost per unit equals to total standard time multiply with the labor cost per hour over minute per hour. Your answer should be in RM. So there are 4 steps in order to establish the standard time. So you should know one by one. Okay, so these are the example. I think for work measurement, it is much more easier. The only thing is actually you must be careful choosing your observation time. Okay, remember either it is the number is too high or too low, you didn't choose. Over here, okay, 35 is too high. You didn't choose. This one you choose all. This one you didn't choose, and this one. For job element 3, this is smallest one. For job element 4, this is the highest number. So you didn't choose. Performance rating, also known as the observed rate. Bawah-bawah ni should be no problem. Do you have any questions regarding this topic, work measurement class? Betul, sure. Okay. Next one is aggregate planning. Definition, yes, you should know the definition. Objectives, the concept. Okay, the aggregate planning strategy, which consists of two options, capacity options and demand options. Okay, missing options. Okay, chase strategy. What is the chase strategy? What is the level scheduling strategy? You should know this thing. The terms, definitions in the aggregate planning, the workforce level, the inventory on hand, the stock out. Okay, this question might be questioned in the theories part. Might lah, I don't know. Okay, so you should know one by one of these things. So tak baca, tak boleh nak jawab. Okay, bila you buat calculation, you buat all the exercises, so insyaAllah. Kalau you beratkan calculation, you tak baca teori, tu you tak boleh jawab jugalah. So these are the formula. Okay, you should know one by one, the units per day, unit produced, number of workers, capacity per worker. But for the number of workers, capacity per worker, this formula will only be used in the varying workforce strategy or the higher layoff strategy. These two formula. Okay, the formula for the total production cost, regular production cost, wages cost, overtime cost, inventory holding cost, subcontracting cost, and stock out cost. Wages cost only for the varying workforce strategy. Okay, kalau the number of working days the same numbers. Kalau number of working days is not the same numbers, for higher layoff strategy, you will use the regular production cost. Okay, meanwhile, for the overtime cost, inventory holding cost, subcontracting cost, and stock out cost, these four types of cost, okay, will be used for the constant workforce strategy. Regular production cost ni memang compulsory for constant workforce strategy. Okay. So the tips, okay, don't forget to read the tips, okay, read the questions and identify which strategy is being asked. And then over here, I put dah noted dekat sini. Apply hiring and layoff cost, number of workers, capacity per workers, wages cost only for varying workforce strategy or higher layoff strategy. Deduct the beginning inventory, last month and inventory, previous month and inventory from the forecasted demand column for the first period only. And don't forget that you need to add it. Okay, if a management policy of having extra production each month is given, so you must make sure that this extra production must be added to the forecasted demand in each period. Unless they mention on the selected month, so on that particular selected month, you akan pilih. Contohnya dia bagi tahu, and the management policy of having extra production on the month of the January, June and December. So you cuma tambahkan kepada January, June and December. Melainkan dia kata each month, so setiap bulan you kena tambahkan. Then you need to check, okay, for the information, for the capacity, constraint, limit, maximum for the overtime and as well as for the subcontracting. Kalau ada, letak siap-siap dekat dalam you punya table tu. So that you won't forget when you do the minus and adding from the working. Okay, so there are 4 types of strategies. So you should do one by one lah. You should master should lah. Okay. Know the difference between the varying workforce strategy and the constant one. The constant workforce strategy. Constant pekerja you sama, tak berubah-ubah. Okay, except overtime, except overtime and inventory, except overtime, inventory and subcontracting if necessary. Varying workforce ni dah memang totally different dah jalan kerja dia. Okay, any question on the aggregate planning? Class? Okay. Then we go to the inventory management. Definition of the inventory over here, you should know the objective. Okay, this is the objective, much more clear picture over here. Functions of inventory. the 8 functions, the 5 functions, the 4 types of inventories. Okay, the inventory management system, inventory management techniques, the 4 types, or the 4 techniques. Okay, the ABC analysis, the record accuracy, cycle counting, control of service inventories, okay, advantages and disadvantages of you for holding the inventory, dependent demand model, okay, cost associated with the inventory model. Untuk inventory, yes, you do have many formula. Okay, you kena tahu formula apa, okay, yang digunakan untuk safety stock. Okay, safety stock usually untuk average inventory level akan tambah dengan safety stock. Okay, the 2 types of independent demand models, you have the basic economic order quantity and EOQ model with quantity discount. EOQ model with quantity discount, you ada 2 juga, which is consists of constant carrying cost and IC is not constant. So ada 2 difference over here. So you should know one by one. Each of these have their own steps. So you should know the steps. Don't forget, your IC must be per year. Kalau dia bagi per day, you need to multiply with 365 days. Kalau dia bagi months, you need to multiply with 12. Kalau dia bagi weeks, you need to multiply with 52. Okay, remember IC must be per unit per year. Okay, any question on the inventory parts, class? Okay, about the rest?
No, madam.
Okay, good. So next chapter will be quality. Quality management. Definition you should know. The overview of the quality management. The quality standards and awards. Okay, ISO 9000. Okay, international quality standards. The quality and strategy. The importance of quality. Objectives of quality. Okay, the difference between quality or the dimension or the quality dimension or the determinants for goods and services. Difference here, 8 for goods. Okay, and then you have 11 from 10 for the services. The 10 dimension or determinants for quality of quality for service. Okay, you have 10 and 8 the 8 dimensions or determinants of quality for goods. So different, yeah? So you should know one by one. What is inspection? The objective of inspection, when you want to inspect. How many stages of quality control? Okay, the types of inspection, 100% inspection or sampling inspection. 100% inspection usually been done for the you check for the manually produced product. Okay, why? Because actually the quantity is small, so you can check one by one. But if you are producing in a large quantity or in bulk, basically you will use the sampling inspection. The 4 types of cost. The 4 types of cost of quality. Okay, prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost. Should know the definitions and the example of these types of cost. The TQM, the 7 concept in the TQM. Okay, the statistical quality control. Either it is acceptance sampling or statistical process control. Statistical process control basically adalah you punya control chart. This one lah. Okay, yang kita baru je belajar. Okay, what is the 4 steps to construct a control chart or P chart? Step 1, okay, you need to find the average fraction defective. P bar equals to sum of X over sum of N. Okay, next you need to find the standard deviation of average fraction defective. Okay, be careful when you choose or selecting for your small n, the sample size. Sample size is the product that you check. Okay, sum of n is the total of the sample size. N is the sample size itself. Berapa banyak yang you check. Okay, step 3, you need to determine the control limit. Okay, find the z-score value. Sometimes they give you the value, sometimes they just give you the control limit. So you should know the value. The upper control limit and the lower control limit, upper control limit P bar plus in bracket Z. Z is represent the z-score value multiply with the SP bar that you get the answer previously. That's step number 2. Okay. Upper control limit plus, lower control limit you minus. Then you need to construct the control chart and do the conclusion. Okay, fraction defective in the table 2 decimal. The rest of the working it is 3 decimal. Tak boleh sekejap 2, sekejap 3, sekejap 4. Tak boleh, you have to standardize. Okay, any question class for quality management? Okay. Next, the last topic is maintenance. Definition, you should know the 8 importance of maintenance. Okay, the 2 types of maintenance which consists of breakdown maintenance and preventive maintenance. Okay, you should know the definitions and activities for breakdown maintenance and preventive maintenance. The 2 types of preventive maintenance which consists of the routine maintenance and inspection. Should know the definition and also the examples of the maintenance. Okay, and then the 6 steps in selecting the best maintenance strategy. Ni baru je kita buat tu. Remember, probability or in other terms, we call this probability as the frequency of occurrence. Okay, probability or the frequency of occurrence. Okay, how to find the probability? You total up the frequency of breakdown. Okay, then the probability over, okay, divide with the total frequency of breakdown. So your figure you dapat macam ni. Use 3 decimal point. But again, look at the answer given. Kalau 2 decimal, so everything you will start with 2 decimal. Kalau 3, everything must be start from 3 decimal. Okay, after find the probability, you need to find the expected number of breakdown. Then total up, don't forget over here. Then cari the cost of breakdown maintenance. Okay. Any question for maintenance class? Okay. So this is the example for your final assessment. You need to answer it within 2 hours, including submitted your answer. Okay, duration is 2 hours, 50 questions. Okay, answer all. Choose only one answer, either A, B, C, or D. You're allowed to submit only once. Okay, failure to submit on time will lead to a 0 mark. So you are advised to submit your answer form between 3 to 5 minutes before the form is closed. Okay, so these are the example. They can combine between theories and the calculation. Dia buat theories dulu, then dia tanya you calculation. Soalan ni, for the project management, you tak buat daripada awal lah. Dia cuma suruh you tanya. Dia tanya you determine the earliest event time, okay, till sahaja for the activity E. Actually, kena start daripada depan jugalah. Dia dah siapkan diagram. So, dia suruh cari determine the project completion time. So, kena cari semua EET dekat sini. In order to find the project completion time. Ni dia suruh cari identify the critical path for the project. Dia tunjuk ni je. So daripada sini boleh tak you baca dan nampak kat mana satu critical path class? Boleh tak? Okay, boleh kan? Macam mana nak tahu EET, LET must be the same number. So 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. Dia tak tahu you ambil semua. Tak belajar lah tu. Calculate the total float for activity D. Dia dah bagi siap-siap. So calculate je activity D. So arrow ke atas. Okay. 50 minus 7 minus 3. Duration must be put at the end of the formula. Ni free float. Atas saja mendata. Kanan tolak kiri. Dah calculation dia masuk balik teori. Lebih kurang 4, 5 soalan teori dia masuk balik calculation 4, 5. Macam tu je lah. Okay, this one is cost of quality. What is the types of cost? Appraisal cost ke, external cost ke, prevention cost ke, defect cost ke? Dimension or the determinants of the product quality. This one also determinants or dimensions for the service quality. This one suruh cari quality. Determine the average fraction defective. Dia dah bagi siap-siap. So cari je average fraction defective. P bar. Defect units given, samples given selama berapa, for the past, okay, selama 150 hari. Ni teori balik semula. 4, 5 soalan calculation, balik semula teori 4, 5. Lepas tu masuk balik lagi teori. Macam tu je lah dia punya flow. Okay, this one is for aggregate planning. Teori, calculation, masuk balik teori last. Calculation balik semula. And this one is last semester. 50 questions within 2 hours. Each questions consists of 2 marks. Okay, definitions for the total float. What is the formula for total float for an event? This one they ask you to find the EET tail for activity F. Lebih kurang kan? Bagi you diagram. Okay, calculate project completion time. So maksudnya kena buat yang atas saja. Buat kotak. Okay, dan isikan yang atas. Okay, identify the critical activities. Cari float. Cari completion time. Cari critical activities lagi. Cari float. Lebih kurang sama pattern dia. Theories. This one is work measurement. Tengok ni ada lagi dimensions and determinants of quality. Tapi dia kat sini not the dimension. Quality control tools. Mana quality control tools? Adakah semua ataupun some of these? Maintenance. Last chapters, maintenance. Okay. Any question, class?
Ada.
Yeah.
Boleh tak kalau saya nak dua-dua past question ni?
Rasanya tak boleh lah. Yang ni tak boleh bagi ni.
Okay, madam.
This one is cannot. Sorry lah.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Ada soalan lain?
No, madam.
Alright, so I wish you all the best. Okay, make sure tomorrow is the last day for you to submit your report. Make sure you follow the deadline Apa yang hantar lambat dah bagi tahu kan? Penalize. Alright, please make sure okay, on that particular date for my subject, final assessment, I tak nak dengar orang WhatsApp ataupun call bagi tahu terlupa lah, itulah, inilah, line tak kuat lah, apa benda lah. You dah tahu dah in advance when is the date for your final assessment. So you have to be prepared. Okay? I punya paper pagi. I tak nak dengar, oh saya tertidur, saya terlupa. Ni semua I tak nak dengar. Faham ke?
Madam nak tanya.
Ya.
Nanti final assessment tu chapter 6 onwards je yang masuk.
Ya, betul. Lagi? Apa-apa lagi ke?
Madam,
Ya, saya.
kita guna future ke Google Form
Nanti saya, yang itu saya update kemudian, okey?
Okay, madam.
Tu saya tak ada lagi, saya tak dapat lagi dia punya ni, information daripada I punya colleague. Nanti apa-apa saya akan shout dekat group.
Okay, madam.
Alright. Lagi, ada apa-apa lain lagi?
No, madam.
Okay, alright. So, anything kalau apa-apa you boleh tanya saya kat WhatsApp lah. Jangan tanya saya, hujung minggu ni pula jangan tanya saya. Miss, bila nak bagi assessment mark? Tunggu dulu. You punya paper 28, insyaAllah sebelum 28 tu I keluarkan. Okay?
Okay, madam.
Alright. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and then please do revision. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, class.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, most welcome.
Madam.
Saya tengok. Bagi tahu pada dia orang Ingatkan dia orang.
Okay, madam. Dah ada dah.
Alright. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.